Hello everybody, I'm Gary Jacobs, President of Americans for Legal Reform. Welcome to our September, actually, is this our October meeting actually? October meeting in September because of the Jewish holidays.
The whole library.
Oh, okay.
So we're supposed to be back
November? Okay, so we'll be back second Tuesday or first Tuesday of November. Anyway, tonight, so we don't have as big a crowd as we usually have in person because it changed the date. Moved it up to today, so this is a different day for us, but we do have some people here, and of course a lot of people will be watching on the live video, thanks to Jim Kelly here, our videographer.
November would be the second week because the first week is election.
You know the date?
The 14th.
Okay, so the 14th of November 2025, Carl just informed me, and we'll post online who our speakers are. So anyway, we'll see, if you're watching this on Facebook, please go ahead and share it. One of the things that we talk about at our group, when people ask us, what do you guys do at Americans for Legal Reform? Of course, one of the things we do great is we really have great barbecues, right? So that's something that we can do well, but it's not just a barbecue to have a good time. The idea of the barbecue is to network, to get people to meet each other, because myself, Carl, Jim, our board, we can only do so much. Most of us have day jobs, and there's only so much you can do. But networking and getting you to meet other people who can help you out, good for your sanity, and you should learn from other people's mistakes. That's what we do best. And a perfect example of our networking is going to be our speaker tonight, Dave Weigel, who actually I met through another one of our board members, Mike Houlihan, who saw one of his posts on social media. So, and the reason I mentioned how Mike met him on social media is because a lot of times people do these podcasts now. They do, Facebook Live postings, and sometimes people look and they go, oh, there's only 10 people watching it, 20 people watching it, 1,000, whatever it is. Why would you go up and talk with 2 or 3 people? It doesn't matter how many people you have, because it only takes one person, the right person, to make a difference. So when people have asked me, oh, can you come on my podcast? And sometimes I'll leave work early and I'll go on somebody's podcast. And I says, why are you leaving work and doing this and shaving to go on this guy's podcast? He only has 20 viewers. I don't care if there's one viewer. If that one viewer is the one who I can make a difference in his or her life and teach them something from me, or they can be a connection to help me with somebody else, I do it. So in this case, our next guest, Dave, he's got a huge amount of viewers. And even, for example, Sean Paul Reyes, his stuff went viral online. He's got probably has over 1 million now, but he had close to 1 million subscribers. So everybody just needs to do their part and talk. And even tonight, we don't have as big a crowd as we normally would have because of the change in the date. It doesn't matter. Everybody here can make a difference, and we can all learn from our next guest. Because having known Dave, for a couple months now, and spoke with, he's very motivational, inspirational, and he's got fresh ideas. Which reminds me, when I first met with Carl, and I thought I was a genius. I was the first person who thought about protesting at the courthouse. And I said, Carl, you should do a protest at the courthouse. He said, Gary, I've been doing that for 40 years. He said, I just haven't done it in a while. It's hard to do it. But you know what? If you want to organize it, I'll get behind you and I'll come. And I did. I got behind it, and Carl helped me and showed up, and we had a nice turnout. So my point is, we should support whatever somebody else does. And when Dave does an event, whether it's online, I try to participate. In person, I try to participate. Unfortunately, nobody, I hate to use the word silver bullet because that's what we use for the audience or protection, but none of us have this silver bullet. You think you have a good idea? Carl always says, he doesn't knock anybody down. They come to Carl and they say, why don't you do this? Carl says, why don't you do it? And we'll support you. And Dave's doing things in his own way. We do with our meetings, with our barbecue, our networking, our political connections, court watching, things like that. And Dave's got a different way of approaching it, through social media. I think you'll see when he gets up here. He's got the gift of gab. He's not short on words. Not everybody can get out, but everybody does what they can do. Some people have money, but they don't want to speak to people, so donate money. Some people can speak, but don't have money. Come out and talk to people. Some people are friendly and, can make connections. Jim Fiegel, You know, I think he's come into himself. You know, he had know nothing about this. He was an iron worker in New York City, and he retired. He became #1 court watcher. We have people here who he's met, and he's helped countless people. I can't, even at our barbecue, how many people came up to me and said, I met, you know, one of your board members, Jim Weigel, at the courthouse. He's made this one guy has made such a tremendous difference in people's lives. But has he changed the system? Not yet. But maybe he will. Maybe we don't know how many people he helped by what he did, because you don't want Jim Weigel on your back. You know, you do the right thing when he shows up. So we don't even know what he did to help, right? But he's definitely individually, one at a time, made a big difference in a lot of people's lives. Yeah, for me, didn't help me with my case because my case was done, but he helped me because now I have another amazing friend. Because anybody who doesn't have a kid and would do what he keeps doing and the tenacity that he has, and then even when he's done with his case and he's with his nephew now, he's still showing up for everybody. It's easy to just go away. So thank you to Jim for doing that, and that's why I always say Carl is such an amazing guy, because he's been doing this for so many years. You know, now he's got grandchildren and he's still doing it, right? He doesn't have to do it. He can just go off into the sunset. So thank you to everybody who just keeps coming here and doesn't have a horse in the game anymore. I was really letting Dave eat, but it looks like he sucked down his food. Jim, you want to speak before Dave goes up for a minute? Or?
I'll go after.
You'll go after Dave? Okay, so I'm going to introduce our next guest, Dave Weigel. You can see him over there. The Fraud Warrior, what's the name of the project? Family Court Fraud Warrior Project. And like I said, in a short period of time, this man has made a huge, huge difference and got a lot of followers. And you know, like Brandeis said, the best disinfectant is sunlight, right? And more people who see this, if you're a judge and you go, this guy's got a lot of people on his page and following him, we don't want to do the wrong thing. Let's be a little bit careful. It's court watching on steroids, right? Because he's bringing it out to social media. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our next guest, Dave Weigel, because he could probably use up the whole time. I don't even think he has a piece of paper. You have no notes or anything, Dave?
Just going with the fly, man.
Okay,
Just going
thanks
with the
so
fly.
much.
Jim, you're screwed. I'm taking the whole time. I'm taking all of it. Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate the invite to come out and be able to speak to you guys. And it is true. Doesn't matter if it's a Tuesday and you got to sit in 3 hours of traffic to get out here. With the way the things are set up here, this is going out to the world. This is getting duped over, and more importantly, all the culprits are watching, and we know you're watching, and you should be watching, because we're growing leaps and bounds. Just a little bit of background on me before getting into some of the specifics. I did want to really talk about how we're coming together as a more formal movement now. I mean, these pods have emerged here, and I came out here, I want to say it was more than a year ago, and I met Mike. Mike called me, my ex put in, from the direction of her attorney, put in the 6th arrest complaint against me. 5 dismissed before that, and the 5th before that. They found a way, they colluded, my attorney, her attorney, and the judge found a way to send me. I'm a Wall Street hedge fund manager. I'm a fiduciary, 30 years certified financial planner, certified portfolio manager. My entire history, criminal background, everything has to be public. That's the rule, has to be public. You can absolutely see every inch of my life behind me. They found a way, on an allegation alone, to have me go to Rikers Island for 86 and a half hours of the most mangled time in my entire life. I got out on a fluke. I'll tell you how it happened, but God was watching down upon me. That was set up for me to lose everything. That was set up to shut me up. But Rikers Island, you're only supposed to go there if it's your 10th, violent felony. How does a guy with no criminal background, not a single, other than an arrest warrant that fails, right? That were all concocted by her attorney. Now, we've now reconciled. I just came from her house in Connecticut. I just spent the last 3 weeks, we're co-parenting our children together. She's opened up her books And she said something very, very key in this whole thing, because we see the same stories. It's the exact same story. We complain that it's the same story in the family court, but even in the divorce aspect, it's the same story, right? It's just the worst thing any family could go through. It's built for destruction, but then, the family courts just pour nuclear fuel on top of it, and they turn it into an outright business model, and it is absolutely pure evil. But, they concocted this way to have me go, and everybody knew. When they picked me up, hey, this is my 6th time, right? So the people of the first precinct knew me. They knew I was a good guy. They knew I was innocent, right? I got a great guy. And we make it a point. Every time we go out there, we're saying, here's a message to the good guys in the system, and here's a message to the scumbag culprits in the system. And we don't mince words, and that's the beautiful thing about Facebook and about social media. So you can talk like a regular person, right? And I think it matters. I think it matters is you talking the way you would talk to somebody if you're sitting at a bar, if you're sitting at a barbecue, get Gary's barbecue, and you're actually communicating to these people. But I got in there, and after 6 hours, I'm pulling my socks up, ready to leave, and the OCs are saying, "Oh no, your lawyer's not here yet." How the hell you know who my lawyer is? I'm not telling you who my lawyer is. It was all concocted. It was all concocted. But the thing that we're breaking down walls with now is what it got through to my ex. 14-year divorce, 6 arrest warrants. Right? We should be arch enemies for life. But she came and she told me, and she said, Dave, she goes, I was never going to hear this message from you. But when I saw this movement emerge, I saw women like me. And it finally got through. I've been saying for years, they're screwing you too. Once they're done taking all of my money, they're going to take all of your money. What do you think? Do some fucking research, okay? Nobody walks out a winner here. Right? You think they're going to just leave you here? But the thing is, you're not open to hearing what your divorcing ex is going to tell you. So I think that's huge, because we have 14 major successes, and yes, we are counting these successes because this is an area where there's no success. That's the one thing that I did, just to back up a little bit. I entered, this was 14 years, 13 years, 5 months, and 2 days to be exact, in this system. The first number of years was just narcissist abuse, playing around with me. She knew I was Italian. I grew up in like a Jersey family, much like Long Island. We don't get divorced, right? You work out your shit, and she knew she had that over me, and I would do anything to keep the family together. So that was like the first 5 years. It was real, kind of narcissist abuse. But when it got to the, into the actual family courts, I'm trained. 1/6 of the certified financial planners designation is ethics, is fraud detection, and we are really. There's 2 types of fiduciaries. There's the fiduciary that a lawyer is and supposed to be for your life, for your children, right? And there's a financial fiduciary, which is the worst thing we could do, is bilk you out of your money, right? That's nothing compared to the horror stories that you'll hear and you'll see. And I'll take a little time to go through our site, because I do want people to understand how we're utilizing it. Basically, what I had done is, I went through the system trying to work the system's way. 7 attorneys I'd fired. I noticed that, I picked up, this is fraud. I'm trained in this. This looks like a training manual. This reminds me of my continuing education, right? I'm noticing, like, they're colluding, they're talking, they're on the same fucking side. And I'm just the type of person where I'm not going to hold that back, and I didn't. And as soon as I sent one email to my entire friend group, I said, listen, they're trying to take my kids away. This is right around COVID. I said, can you guys please write a letter of reference for me, what you know about me, my family, me as a man, me as a father. I hate to ask you, but this really matters. And 45 letters came in from all over the place, wonderful, touching things. People took the time to do that. It was on the wrong form, so the judge just pretended it didn't exist, right? And how many times have people that have been through the system Yeah, they get you a procedure, right? Oh, the wrong form. You weren't facing north by northwest with your thumb up your ass at the time that you submitted it. It's appalling. Okay, so after, finally, I started reaching out, and you're so buried in your own case. Why would you ever have the time or the energy to look around and look into other people's cases, look into the whole system? You're buried in your case, and they do that shit on purpose. And they're throwing stuff at you every single week, and it's torture. They're letting you know how much they own you every single week. And it's like the definition of insanity. You're banging your head against the wall, okay? Just going back to the same well, trying to find water. And, it is Gestapo tactics, man. I studied this stuff, okay? I should back up and tell you that my hedge fund is 100% behavioral science based. It's been a passion of mine my entire career. When I first got to Wall Street, they laughed at the behavioral science stuff. It was all about ratios and formulas and all of that nerdy shit, which I did. I went to Columbia's Graduate School of Financial Engineering. I took the salutatorian in my graduating class in 2017, so I knew that side of it. But I would listen to guys like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, and they talk about the greatest investments. They wouldn't be talking about ratios. They'd be talking about how people react, how people behave, and what inputs, and then you dig a little deeper and you see we're all a bunch of hairless monkeys here. You put certain information in, you get definable results back, right? And that's basically what this family court system has emerged into. They didn't circulate a memo around the country, and now it's around the world too, all right? Like, why would this be happening in Canada as much as here, in England? Okay? We got over 6,000 victims connected to this group. We started in January. We're not even a year old. Half of us don't even know how to use the damn site yet, okay? We're trying to get a technology guy in here to help us. But, my whole story and what made this emerge here is after about 10 years, 7 different attorneys that I'd fired, and I mean, outright robbery, right? I went to this one woman, Fran Hoffinger. Yes, Fran, we're making sure we're getting your name on permanent public record as well, because this is what the site is about. This is not a Facebook page. This is a public ledger, and this is to take the place of the town hall of records, right? Town hall of records nobody goes to. Nobody sees what's in there, all right? It's 2025, doesn't need to be, all right? We're using this site as a public ledger of evidence, because you cannot get justice in this family court whatsoever. And what we're noticing is, and this is what Mike Houlihan helped me out with on my 6th arrest, is when they know all the evidence is on permanent public record and you've called out their next move ahead of time, it gets a little bit more difficult for them to do it, right? So just backing up a little bit, I know I'm bouncing around. What really made this emerge is that after I was finally reaching out, and I needed, I've always worked with doctors. I consider myself a professional athlete with my brain. So why would I not have? Tiger Woods has a coach. I have a coach, right? So I've always worked with therapists and doctors, and I think everybody should. I mean, the brain doesn't come with an owner's manual, and we study, on Wall Street, what goes into successful decision making, right? What goes into unsuccessful decision making on it, and at a very, very deep level. So I reached out to a narcissist abuse coach by the name of Joe Weiss, who's absolutely genius, and I thought I knew what a narcissist was. I mean, it's just, walk down the street, you think you do, right? Like, oh yeah, somebody thinks it's all about them, right? No. Go and look. Narcissist abuse, narcissist personality disorder, it is a very definable thing. And these people do not sway from this textbook definition. They do not sway from it. So she educated me about what is a true narcissist and what they do. And I was able to figure out this system in a bigger way. And she told me, she said, I just fired my 7th attorney. And I was like, what's the sense of going to another one? There's not, they're all the same shit. And she goes, the only time I've ever seen anything good happen when it's been this bad and you're this embedded in the fraud system is when people have gone pro se. She said, Dave, most people will go pro se because they have to. They run out of money. But, you know, if I was in your shoes, I'd do it. You know, with your background, you know, I would do that yourself right now. I said, absolutely. It took me about a year before they let me to be pro se. They were giving me wrong forms, sending me to the wrong place. I had to get a buddy of mine involved who's a board member of New York Law School to finally call me, what the hell's going on here, okay? This guy's been the runaround. Well, I figured out, you know, so I finally got to be pro se in my own case, and they gutter served me. Said, you got to be in court in 3 days, right? That nice little trick there. And I said, all right, screw it. I said, I made a pot of coffee. I didn't sleep for 2 days. I organized 1,600 files into the most organized folders and subfolders, you know, collusion down to each part. I identified, I got all of the transcripts from every single case. And I went through and highlighted each lie from the attorney, and I attached the proof that it was a lie to each one. It was 125. I stopped counting after 125. I figured the point was made, right? Go into court, and this is very pivotal, all right? It's very pivotal. I go into court, I'm sitting there, and we're talking, and I finally say to the judge, I said, Judge, I said, I've loaded, you know, 1,600 files on NICEF, on the New York, you know, electronic filing system, and I have counted and proven over 125 lies that are proven. Lawyers cannot lie. It is illegal. He cannot lie. 125. And this was just huge. She gave me this look. I'll never forget this look. This look was, you stupid motherfucker. We're robbing you. This is not a court of law. We're robbing you. This is theater. This is a show. And I sat back and I was like, oh, whoa, 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 this is something totally different. And then I got to look at this from a, hold on, blank sheet of paper, start over, different global mindset. What the hell is going on here? And then all the pieces started coming together. And I realized, I'm in the belly of the beast here. You know, they already made it clear. We're taking all your money. You know, you're going to go bankrupt. All right, it's your kids or your money. And I made the decision. I was like, I'm not turning my back on my kids. I don't care what it takes. So I'll tell you right now, I figured out, put my money into my business, dove everything down in 5 years, lived the high life, spent my money like a drunk sailor because might as well, you know, not going to them. But I knew once I was technically bankrupt, now if these lawyers want to come after me, they got to work for free. Lawyers don't like working for free. So it's those kind of solutions. Come on in. I got some donuts for everybody. Feel free over there. So a pretty good donut place over there. The Duck Donuts went in there. Oh God, it smells good. I might slide over there and just grab one. Oh, you can't have food in here? Even with your clout?
No.
Okay.
We don't want to get.
Well, we'll hand out some donuts on the way up. So what I'm trying to kind of bring everybody up to here is what birthed, you know, the movement. I saw this as completely different, and I said there is only one way out of this, and that is exposure. That is global public shaming. I knew enough about history to know that public shaming works. It works when you have tyranny in government, when you have a controlling party, when you have a controlling group, right? When everybody knows and everyone has circled the castle, all right? Because it's either that or violence. And I'm going to tell this, and I say this everywhere. These people are not worth violence. It's not good enough. It's not bad enough for them, all right? They need life imprisonment. They need half of the torture that they have put these families through. You know, we all go through, and I'm not shy about showing people that I have complex PTSD. I don't see how anyone going through the family courts does not have complex PTSD. It's not PTSD, all right? They're figuring out PTSD is from one event, right? You went down on a plane, all right? Okay, get back on the plane, get over it, right? Complex PTSD is a series of abuses. The torture that you go through and you experience when you're sitting there watching your children abused in front of your eyes, and they're poking you and saying, you're not a man, You know, we've taken your child from you. You're not a man. And that they do it to women too. The moms. And it's all something to shut them up. What better way to shut up a mom is take her kids. They're banking on the whole society just looking at it, being like, what kind of a mother gets her kids taken? Because they think we live in America. They think there's actually this thing called the rule of law, right? The way they've pulled this off, I hate to give them credit, but it is brilliant. It is really, really brilliant and sinister, and they're so practiced, you know? I tell people, they come to me all the time, Dave, no, if I submit this form on this thing, and they have to. No. The only thing a human being has to do is what another group of human beings makes that human do. And the real culprits here are the Bar Association. The Bar Association is a facilitator. They are committing treason. Treason. I am a regulated entity. I'm a fiduciary. I've seen what it is like to be regulated and what is involved in being regulated. And the fact that these people have control over people's lives, their future, they're destroying people and torturing people, and there's no one watching. The Bar Association, we've done the numbers. They don't investigate anything. All those bar complaints, they go into a circular, they go nowhere, right? And even if you have a lawyer friend, okay, yeah, corporate lawyers are real lawyers, right? They laugh at these family court lawyers at the bottom of the barrel, right? But they all know the Bar Association is a front. It's a fucking front. It is a front, and who's really to blame? You know, you throw humans in a cage, they're gonna act like caged animals, right? You throw greedy piece of shit lawyers into an unregulated world where they can get away with anything. It dawned on me that the whole thing is about theater. It's about just getting the right words for the transcript that's semi-passable. But if you outthink them, Jim's got a better knowledge of an encyclopedia in his head of the laws of any lawyer I've come across in New York City. I can out-talk any one of them. And the reality is even him, okay? They'll just, if it's not loud enough, they'll just be like, 1.21 gigawatts. Okay, yeah, you're good. Arrest them. They will get away with anything. They will, and we've seen them absolutely get away with anything. So I said to myself, I gotta do this the right way. And I took a look on Facebook. I saw what people were doing, and just screaming about your ex. You just look like an angry ex. You know, that's not transparency. Transparency is two parts. It's not only getting the information out there, but it's also getting it digestible. So I figured out, I'm not a shy guy to be able to speak. My whole family and everybody, Dave, don't do this, don't go public. You're gonna be airing your dirty family laundry all over. I'm like, no, you don't understand. There are felonies involved, right? This is child abuse. This is a business model. They're doing this everywhere. I didn't see it. I just saw their behavior and I said, they're doing this everywhere. I'm a cog in a machine. I'm nothing, right? I'm a number in this whole thing. So I figured out in my own particular case, I figured out what I had going on. So I told them the story in real time. You know, when I had an appointment with my kids, you know, they made me go through supervised visitation for 3.5 years, paying $6,000 a month to see my kids 6 hours a week. And the owner of this organization was Elliot Spitzer's first cousin. So the corruption just doesn't go very far from the tree now, does it, right? But, so I found another, my kids are in Connecticut. I said, there's another supervisor with the same licenses. They operate in 10 states. It's 1/3 the cost. I was like, I'm having financial difficulty. Would not even hear it. Would not even hear it. My own attorney would not bring it to. And if I have one major regret in this whole thing, I knew my own attorney was dirty, but I had no idea to what degree. To what degree. And that's one thing that Americans just do not know. Your attorney does not work for you. Do not kid yourself. 1 second. 1 second. They work for the people they see every single freaking day, right? They get cross referrals, right, from all this. And they have referral payment agreements, okay? If they ever let me financially dissect this system, oh my God, that would be the heyday. So basically, I told the story in piecemeal, okay, a little at a time, 20-minute clips, and I was alienated from my kids I only saw them 3 times in 3 years, 2.5 years. And this stress almost killed me. Gave me a seizure condition. I had 7 grand mal seizures. Doctor told me, we don't know why you're having your seizures, but it's pretty serious that you're having them all the time. I'd get your affairs in order. And I did.
How old are they now?
They're 14 and 16. And my relationship with them is so phenomenal. It's like when you go from alienation to having them back. I mean, I went downstairs the other day just to make a bagel at like 1 in the morning. And I just sat there and looked at the mundaneness of my life, and I was just like, this is perfect. Couldn't be happier. Because I had the other side. I had that constant pain. Right? I had to, when COVID hit, I had to put a hitch on my car. I bought a little Airstream, and I traveled 9,000 miles, 26 states, just to change the scenery. Because I was going out of my mind. I could not shut it off. I mean, I was just like any other loving father, but like, it's so unnatural to remove a child from a parent, right? There's nothing in history to compare it to in mass scale. It signals massive distress. If we're nothing but hairless monkeys, right? What are we programmed to do? Procreate and take care of our kids. So you remove a child, your brain is signaling massive distress, 24/7, by design, by our makeup, our genetic makeup here. And that's their play toy. That's their play toy. So one of the things I was doing with my public reporting was I was putting messages out for my kids. I was using the time to say this will be time-stamped and dated, and this is the time that I was being robbed from me. So I did a little thing for my daughter, talking about how to deal with the mean girl, in school, how to deal with the frenemy, right? These daddy-daughter, daddy-son talks, because I knew they were being lied to. And I just thought, everyone told me, oh, they'll come back later on. So I was like, this is not me pushing it on them, right? That's one thing. They would have to get to the point where they wanted to come looking for me. And when they went to come look for me, I wanted time-stamped and dated for them to sit there and say, whoa, whoa, whoa. You told me Dad was like in Vegas with hookers and blow, and he's in Maine, and he's doing videos for me, Thankfully that happened. That happened sooner than I thought, Once you put things on permanent public record, is what I call it. Even for not people that don't get their information from Facebook, they get their information from people who watch Facebook, right? That are clued in and connected. And my series of reporting just systematically knocked another leg, and another leg out of my ex's story, out of the attorney's story, and it got back to my kids, and my daughter demanded me back in her life. That was Christmas of 2023. And even that Christmas, that was a setup. That was a setup that was organized by her attorney to say, where she gave approval for me to be there, but then the story was as soon as that I showed up unannounced, and that was a violation of the order, and I was to get arrested again. But my family stuck behind me, my sister-in-law, who I haven't had the greatest relationship with, because that's the other thing that happens and people don't realize this. If you talk to a lot of victims of the family court, it's astounding how many people have broken bonds with their direct family. And it's literally, we have a polling question out, and 400 people have answered it, and it's been 100%. 100%. Now, what kind of sense does that make? You got a family member that's had their kids hijacked, and no one's standing behind them? How's that happen? Well, if you dissect it and take it apart, the strain is so terrible, it's so immense that, of course they feel hopeless, They don't believe it. They keep seeing you getting arrested. They're being fed lies. They have no reason to believe that the courts is a national racketeering scheme, So the level of stress. But you know, that's one of the things that came out that was so beautiful about this whole process is if you ask any victim in the family court why they're not talking to their mom or dad or brother or sister, they'll say mom or dad or brother or sister. If you ask the brother or sister or mom or dad, they'll tell you it's David's fault. And what was the real reality that the numbers show? It's neither fault. It's the systems, right? And we announced that. That's one of our 14 successes. By that number coming out, by that realization of us doing this kind of digging, this kind of data analysis coming out, it made a number of people pick up the phone and call, you know, that father, that mother that they weren't speaking to, that brother, that sister, that uncle, right? So this is my alternative strategies that I just said, nothing traditional is going to work here. Anything any normal human being would think of along the way, they figured out. They've tried. They've already got 5, 10 different ways to close that avenue down, right? First thing we think of is this something that other people would have thought of? If other people would have thought of it, there's no sense. No sense trying to do it. Oh, a RICO? Okay. Oh, you got a RICO going on? Okay. Have you taken a look at all the RICOs that have been put up? Are you aware that not one has succeeded? Okay. Not one? Class action? Not one? Are you guys aware? Thousands. We tell people all the time, we've seen 20,000 legal processes fail. Not 99% failure, 1% success. It's a different animal when it's 0. When it's 0, a dog is not a dog anymore. A dog is a cat. And that is this mindfuck, basically, that takes people a long time to fully get. So I said, oh my God, you know, so basically my daughter demanded me back in her life, and she even went a step further and she cornered her mother and had her in Connecticut, you're allowed to do this. I didn't ask her to do it. She did it on her own. She's 15 years old and she wanted to know. She thought it was her boyfriend at the time that took me out of her life. She blamed me. She said, he took my father out of my life for 5 years. And my ex said, no, that was me. It was me that did that. And she goes, you're proud of that? Right? And she goes, why? Why? She said, oh, I guess I was a little power hungry. Right? And I'm beating up on her a little bit. She was twisted up and pushed very, very heavily by the attorney and the ex, okay? But I take my hat off to her now because she's eating crow and she's addressing it and she's doing the right thing for the family now. We're showing our children peace, you know, and I want that, and I want to explain this story over and over because we're going to have a hell of a lot more success getting through to other people before we ever figure out what the hell it's going to take to get the FBI or the U.S. Marshals off their ass to actually do their job, right? There's just nothing but just gridlock. Even if there are good people in the system, and you got to figure there are, right? They're just so stuck. It's just a suicide mission.
Dave, excuse me, you taking questions? Not right now.
I will in a bit. But let me, that will hurry me up. So, I just wanted to say what basically came into putting this whole thing together. The next thing I found was a journalist, Richard Luthman. All right, I said it's one thing with me reporting this stuff on Facebook. It's something else when a card-carrying journalist is publishing your evidence. And I built up a rapport with him, and he published a couple of articles, and I got the story of me back. Right? Anybody going through this family court stuff after a while, you know, they're telling this story about you so much, you start to believe it, right? You start to believe it. Like, am I this person? So him doing that, this one article went viral. He retold the story to Dave Weigel. I got my dignity back. I got my story back. And then he published another one about my ex's attorney that said, designer child trafficker. Boom, his picture, the attorney. That went viral. And I got about 300 people calling me. This was last December, not even a year. And I said, okay, I got my kids back, but I've seen too much. I can't just take my ball and go home. I got to figure out a way to help everybody else with this. And I said, and not everyone's going to have the ability to, you know, hire all these people and have any money. Most people are completely broke, all right? They took all my savings, but at least I have an income coming in, and I've been dedicating it towards this project since I've been funding this charity out of my pocket since December, and I'll continue to, yeah, so the whole birth of this movement has been me saying, what if I knew in year 1 what I learned by year 14? And I'm telling you, I learned monumental things in year 12, right? It takes 12 years to learn all this stuff, right? It's that many layers of the onion. Just when you think you've got it figured out, there's another layer to this thing. But the biggest thing you need to understand is that this is not a court of law. You are not in a legal process, right? Even when we've seen people beat them on the system, they beat them by being a bigger bully, by wearing them down, throwing different things at them from left field, right? Where they just got tired of them, all right? So that was kind of a lot just thrown in there in a whole mix. I do want to give you guys the essence of what my whole program is that I put together. Is I figured if we're reading in 200 years the history books of this whole time period, right? This system developed. I call it America's Auschwitz. Developed where it's cash for kids, it's family terrorism, but it was overcome by something, right? What would that be, logically? All of a sudden, a politician came in with a cape and was this fantastic guy. Nah, that didn't make sense to me. There was going to be a lawyer, one great lawyer that was going to step up and save the day. Nah, that didn't make sense to me either. I said, it's got to be something that they don't see coming. It's got to be innovation-based. So I was looking at the technology solutions, and I saw, and basically the Family Court Fraud Warrior Project is a convergence of 3 mind-bending technologies, game-changing technologies. It's the internet, not as the internet, but the internet as permanent public record. But, so you put your evidence up there. Forget about the courts. You put it up there. But, you know, not everything is going to be considered significant, right? Okay, or true, right? That's where getting a journalist involved, okay, helps. That now validates your evidence. But then the second step of this is now coming over to this Facebook page. This Facebook page is acting like a blockchain. If you know anything about Bitcoin or what blockchain technology is, it's a truth verification machine, right? And I'm saying I'm selling 1,000 Bitcoin to this gentleman right here at this time, right now, but all these desperate systems. My phone shows that I was really on the parkway doing 65 miles an hour because the Geico app tracks that. It cancels the transaction. It goes out and disproves it. So the Facebook page, we start off, everyone introduced themselves through the group by doing a 3 to 5 minute video, right? Old technology, looking in a human being's eyes, right? My name's Dave Weigel. I'm a victim of the Manhattan family courts. Judge Tondra Dawson, Attorney Daniel Notes, Attorney Taylor Koss. They arrested me 6 times, 6 dismissals. They stole my kids for 5 years. They used my mother's death from COVID as their opportunity. Said that I broke into the hospital to kill my own mother. Yeah. That's the type of people that a system, a town without a police force creates. We don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like to walk down the street and say, I think I'll steal that car because there's no repercussions. I think I'll go stab that person in the face because I can. That's what they have here. So the internet is permanent public record. Then the truth validated through the public ledger, through the blockchain. Now the blockchain means that if you're going to put up lies, somebody in the world knows it's a lie, right? We don't have narcissists will not turn their phone around and say, my name's Joe Blow and this attorney did this to me, knowing that they're lying, because somebody knows. They know that. They know that this site has been created to take down dirty judges and attorneys. So it's acting under the same principles of what makes blockchain work from the Bitcoin sense. And then the last step is why we have everybody send in all their court documents to help@fraudwarrior.org. This is our system that we've got set up with Google. Most people have a Google account. You've got all your documents in PDF form. right? It's the easiest thing to email and just attach that folder, right? It goes to the Google Drive that just says, okay, you want to assign read-only or, editability, do read-only to preserve the authenticity. We don't want anyone to be able to change these documents. And now we're feeding that into an AI stack, all right? Now the problem with AI is sometimes it hallucinates, sometimes it has bias, all right? Sometimes it's too liberal. Gary doesn't like any democratic stuff around here. So when you feed it through 5 different layers of AIs, it siphons off the bias. It eliminates down the hallucinations. And it doesn't need to do much more difficult things than count. Like, how many people in the divorce system have been arrested that have never had a criminal record in their entire life? Do people know that it's 78%? Where, in what society is there a 78% criminality rate? Nowhere. Okay, we know from criminal justice science, it's 4 to 8% everywhere. Okay, it's like these preferred providers that they send your kids to and say, oh yeah, the kid has a condition, he's got to be on these drugs. Only 0.2% of the society has this condition. But it's 80% of the people that run through this doctor who gives them these things. But the thing is, that's the information that doesn't come out in any one-on-one. On any one-on-one, I have to live on my alarms because I wouldn't survive any other way. But that's what I'm saying. Any one-on-one case, the patterns are not revealed. The patterns are not revealed, right? They do the same shit to everybody. But unless you're looking at all these cases. So our mission is, and I'm going to open up the questions, is I want 2,000 fully vetted cases going through all of our processes because our community, unfortunately, is real victims, okay? And there's also people that are just mentally ill, all right? We have to be able to trust. No one's got the time or the resources to fully actually analyze 2,000 cases the traditional way. So we have to use these alternative methods to authenticate truth and honesty. So we use a lot of esoteric, systems to do that. Right? One of them being this 3 to 5 minute video. Look in my eyes. See if I'm telling the truth when I'm telling you about the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my life. You can tell a lot from looking at somebody's eyes. That's one step of this whole thing, right? So we go through these processes so that we have 2,000 fully vetted cases from victims, from not perpetrators that are trying to pretend to be victims, not parental alienators that are trying to pretend that they're victims. 2,000 fully vetted cases. And from there, we are going to dissect and answer about 200 questions that are going to reveal these patterns. And it's not going to be Dave Weigel calling Karen Lacurcio a criminal. It's not going to be James Fiegel. It's not going to be Mike Wilhay. It's not going to be Gary. It's going to be the sum of all fucking human knowledge. Counting the numbers. And then we got to hope the last phase of our project is to recreate the 5 o'clock news. Because we all know that new media has taken over for old media, but the one thing that old media did better than new media is it corralled everybody around the dinner table to discuss the 5 biggest news stories of the year. That's not happening with new media. Everybody's corralling into their own little subdivision, and we're all yelling to each other. We already know what the other person is saying. We got to get the message out to everybody. So the plan is, when we have this drop-dead proof that this is a national racketeering system, we're going to scream it from the top of our lungs and through all of our connections that we have. From every podcaster, it's going to be a tsunami of exposure, from documentaries to podcasts to every form of communication under the sun. And we just got to hope that we can inspire enough people to get behind us and scream this from the top of the lungs. Because I got to tell you guys, I'm going to leave it with this. It's scary. If we don't fix this problem, we're going to be handing in an unglued society to our children and our grandchildren. Right? I don't see how we're not going to do that. There's no way this stays in the family court. This is going to spill over everywhere. It's going to spill over everywhere. And they are creating revenue-generating units out of everybody. All right, 25% of people go through family court become permanently disabled. They don't work anymore. 50% of them have a 50% reduction in their productivity. They were at a job making $100,000, they're barely working and making $40,000 across the board. And I'm going to corporate America and saying, you're destroying your workforce. You're destroying your workforce. You better hope AI replaces all these jobs, because you're destroying your workforce. So there was a lot in all that. Sorry if I jumped all around, but I'd love to, open
Dave,
up
before we get
questions.
to the questions, with Jim's going to be our Maury Povich and run around with the microphone. And
Oh, great.
hopefully Frank won't get out of control again like he has in the past. But why don't you give a little bit of advice, because you did this for 14 years. So there are people, I was watching online, so a lot of people are watching that are probably only a year, 2, 3, 4 years into it. So I know I'm putting you on the spot, but what advice, not everybody's going to do what you did, right? Get out and start this whole project. Some will participate, but what advice can you give any advice so people who are watching can maybe learn from some of your mistakes before we open it up to the
Yes,
the
absolutely.
questions?
Number one is you cannot isolate. You have to get part of a bigger group. You cannot fight this one person versus the machine. You cannot. I don't care if you're a social person or not, you've got to connect to other people. You don't like our group? There's 390 Facebook groups. Find one you like. Get bigger than yourself. Show up for other people. Court watch for other people so they court watch for you. Document, document, document. You're not in a legal process. The hardest thing is get it through your head. This is not a legal process. Do the research. Take a look at the 400 videos on my site and tell me that this is a legal process. Don't tell me about another form you're going to submit to the courts. It's worthless. It's pointless. Until the system is broken, your only option is expose. Expose the crimes. Expose the criminals. I know it's scary. It sucks, but the status quo is you're in it. Okay? You're not safe now. Okay? They don't let anybody out the side door for good behavior. Doesn't make sense that way. Now you're strong enough and you've got resources to come back and hurt them later on. They destroy everybody by design. By design. It's not what you want to hear, but believe you me, I've got about 15,000 hours of the most painstaking thought. And I've never thought about something and thought through something as much as I have this. And I wish I had better analysis. And I have no other vested interest here. Okay, I can't unsee what I've seen, and I can't walk away from what I know.
And this started when for you?
The movement started in December of last year.
No, the divorce in what time?
The divorce, I got served divorce paperwork on February 19th, 2012.
Which was a surprise.
Yeah, it was a surprise. And she was a Wall Street woman. The idea of, she taught me a word that I hate to this day, divorcing well. She said, oh, that person who travels on, she divorced well. It's a horrible concept. It's a fucking horrible concept.
Scam.
But hey, this is the world, okay? She comes from another country, all right? You think these super poor people and women in other countries don't think they know? Go to Wall Street and marry a man and think about it, okay? If you're gonna rob a bank, all right, you're gonna put some planning into it, right? That's a one-time payday. You get divorced, you don't gotta work. You get paid the rest of your life. Of course there's gonna be motivation to do that, right? But the thing is, those people they don't make out either. They don't make out either. So I'm taking all of Jim's time here.
No, you questions?
You want to just do some questions first?
Dave, I admire your strength, and
Thank you, buddy.
people rather die than publicly speak.
Yeah.
I've been publicly speaking since 1991. Matter of fact, I did a speech with Carl at the Moreland Commission in 2017, right, Carl? Me and you.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. You're doing great as far as speaking, but you're telling us about your story, but here's what we need to know.
Yeah.
The fight, where do we go? And let me tell you what I'm doing right now. I've been proposing to Trump, because I happen to know, okay? If you Google my name is Dale Javino, Javino. Google it right now, anybody, okay? I'm proposing to him the Judicial Corruption Agency by executive order. And there's a lot of other things I'm proposing to him too, like no statute of limitations on judicial corruption, okay? And I went through the family court probably 15 years ago.
Right.
And I can tell you all my stories about that, but that's not really going to help people.
Right.
The things we need to tell them what to do.
What can we
Right
do?
now, right now, my daughter just turned 21, October 23rd last year. They're still charging me. I went to court. My ex took me to court right before my birthday in February, okay? They're still charged. I said, listen, and the judge said she's, basically emancipated her back to October 23rd, and my ex said, yes, she's emancipated as of her birthday.
Right.
But they're still charging me to stay. And now, the judge, I went back for an order, they said, no, you already agreed to it, we're not giving you an order.
Right.
And they don't have the transcripts. So I can't prove the judge said, now I wrote another letter to her saying, listen, I want, I mean, it's so corrupt, listen, judicial corruption is off the charts of witnesses. The best thing you said, that we're gonna leave this to our children, and you're absolutely correct. And we gotta do something, so I'm doing, listen, here's the thing, watch the newspapers, I already made the headlines in newspapers for Trump, right, Carl? You understand? Headlines, CNN, the whole 9 yards. Let me just tell you something. The first public speech I did was in front of 2,500 Atlanta Federal Penitentiary inmates with 2 wardens, because they sent me to Atlanta Federal Penitentiary. I know you didn't go there.
Tough crowd.
They might arrest you 6 times, but basically, so I learned from the belly of the beast, the real belly of the beast, okay? And I've been fighting. If you Google my name, the DEC, when they see I'm involved with something, they run. Because they want to take their $2,000 fine from you. With me, it cost them $250,000 in legal to fight me on a 42 U.S.C. 1983. And there's a statute called 18 U.S.C. 2242, deprivation of rights. You could charge him criminally. So what I'm trying to tell you, if you want to, see, I don't have time. I'm here today because it doesn't conflict with another group I'm involved with, the second Tuesday of the month. So when he said the 30th, I'm going to be there. And I apologize for being late, Carl, okay? But the thing, I live in Santa Mauritius, okay? But the thing is, I've been cheated so many times. I was supposed to be in Nassau County town, okay? And I wound up moving upstate. It's a whole long story. And I pissed the upstairs, don't like downstairs.
Oh, yeah.
And they basically ran me out of town. Listen, I'm in a bar one night, 2 guys want to kick my ass because I'm a New York City accent. I said, assholes, I'm from New York City. My New York City accent. I can't hide it. I'm like, there's 10 million in me, only a couple of thousand of you. Who has the accent? Me and you. I said, you want to fight me? Before he said, remember, it was 30 years ago, I was in better shape.
Yeah.
So let's just say, if I didn't knock him out, the other guy knocked out, I wouldn't be here today.
But you're right. It's what do we do?
Well, listen,
I wish
man,
I had a
what I'm
direct
saying
answer to
is,
that.
what you got to tell your crowd, how to help. Now, I've been in family court. I'm an expert. Listen, I hate lawyers, so I'm not going to be one, but I am a paralegal, okay? And the thing is, when I go in front of a judge or attorneys, they never forget me ever.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what I'm saying
But
is, if anybody here wants to see,
The
when I
mo-
first started speaking here, way back when, 'cause I know Carl, 15 years, everybody gave me their lawsuits, and I just like only one guy.
Right.
And I don't charge anything. The thing is this, it's like if anybody has a question about what forms and all the other stuff,
Yeah.
I've done every single thing in every single court, even bankruptcies, okay?
Yeah, I mean, that I think was my number one advice. Don't waste your energy and your money on all those
Well, the
forms.
thing is, here's the thing. You could do it pro se. See, I'm allowed to do research, because they already tried to put me in a slam for practical law on a license. It's a misdemeanor, but they can't do it.
Right.
And the thing is, I always win cases for people, so they're not gonna go against me, okay? But the thing is, what you gotta show your people,
Well,
following, is
the
what
the
they
number
have to
one
do.
thing is
The
showing
forms
up.
The forms they need to
Showing
do,
up.
like for example, here's the thing, divorce is all levels of loss. You want to negotiate a settlement if you want to do a divorce. So if I knew you, 2012, I filed my divorce and I filed a divorce. Most of the women filed divorce against the men, 80% of them do, okay? I was a plaintiff, okay? And the thing is, basically, I just filed, I gave her a paid off house that's worth a ton of money now. I'm not even gonna talk bad about it because it loves my kids, but the thing is, God's good to me. I always do the right thing by people.
A guy did that to me too. He came to me right at the beginning. He said, Dave, you're going to think this is incredible, ridiculous advice. He said, right in the beginning, he said, give her everything she wants and then some, right now. Here's the form, go on the form, fill it out. That's all the lawyer does, just fills out this form. And fills out this form. Go and get it yourself. Go and get it yourself and submit it and give her everything that she wants. Of course, in the heat of the battle, I wasn't hearing that, right? I wasn't hearing that. And I don't know if that's, I'm very pragmatic on what can actually be done about this. And what I'm trying to convince everybody to do is be part of our program, okay? We've got 14 successes. There's no success anywhere else. And I'm not talking my own game. I'm not making any money off this thing, okay? We got a system that works. Exposing people when everybody around them knows how they make their money. When liars are exposed, right? When it gets into their world, right? When it goes into their country club, in their restaurant, and they know, oh, that's how you make your money, right? Things change. I don't believe that this is something that a traditional path can actually follow, that it can actually show any kind of success.
How you doing, Dave?
Hey, big man.
One, I want to thank you for coming. Second thing is I'm grateful that I did reach out to you. And I just want to say that you're an amazing person. You're an innovator.
Got that right. Thank you.
You're a ball of energy. You know, all of us are fighting, but there's days I'm just exhausted, and you know, I see you, you're like the Energizer battery. But that's the biggest thing is in my 11 years, I came across so many people that had no clue what goes on in the courts system. And I feel that God made this happen to Carl, Gary, me, you, James Kelly, James Fiegel, for a reason. God doesn't like the devil, and we are fighting the devil. And what I have learned over the 11 years is that the judges and lawyers hate us because we're educating, we're exposing.
That's right.
I've even had the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office come to me and tell me, stop.
Right.
Stop telling the truth.
Right.
Okay? We can't have this.
Right. Right.
And I told them absolutely not. And I will never stop. And my story is because of Gary, I won my case. I won. I have my kids. I have them 365 days a year. The court system has destroyed my family unit, took my kids away from my mother, their mother away. She's embarrassed. I've exposed everything, and now my kids don't have a mother. They don't have a grandfather. They don't have uncles because they made it that we can't be together anymore. So I'm proud that you went back to your family, and you know, it's very manly, and you swallow your pride, and you did the right thing. And I promised everyone I won. I will never go away. And until the day I die, I'm going to expose, and I will never, ever fear no judge, no police officer, no lawyer. I'm unstoppable. And you, my friend, are doing monster things, and I'm proud of you, and I thank you.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you very much. Mike, I got to just tell everybody what Mike did for me. When I found out that I had this 6th arrest warrant, I had my whole family in the city. I had 9 kids between the ages of 7 and 14. We had a whole big sleepover. I had Christmas at my apartment for the first time. And that's what they chose to try to show them, to have the cops come and arrest me in front of all those kids. Okay? And I went in the closet when they were all sleeping, and I did a video. And I knew they were coming after me for harassment. All right? So I immediately went up and I posted every single text message, every email, and proof of every call. So I said, if they're going to come and arrest me, it's going to be on permanent public record that it's a lie. Okay? The evidence was there. There was no harassment.
Who you arrested?
So I was not arrested because I did that. Now, number one is they knew me in the first precinct. They knew I was already innocent. But it's not the guys that come and arrest you. They're getting orders from the guys that are getting the money, right? But why did they come and pick me up this time? Because they knew whoever's showing up is going to get their face on the boob tube, okay? And they said, I'm not going to pick up that Weigel. I'm not getting my name in the press. At that point, I had about 7 or 8 articles that went viral about me. So that mattered. That mattered. It wasn't a legal process. It was an exposure process. It was what I did. And Mike called me up and he said, look, he introduced himself. He said he was a cop. And he said, look, there's a lot of guys on the inside, right, that want to see this go away. They're good guys. And every time I always speak and people tell me they have a problem with a dirty cop who's working with an attorney, I said, but that's just a handful of dirty pieces of shit, right? It's not all cops, right? It's not all cops. I find it hard to believe if you're a judge in family court, that's kind of a filter system. I'm pretty safe to say that 99.9% of them are scum of the earth, because you just wouldn't be there. You'd be filtered out. All right, but cops, you can't say that. There are absolutely great cops out there, and they want to step forward. They want to step forward. They want to do what Mike's done. All right, but they got their pension coming up, this and that. And not many guys can do what he did and still hold on to his pension. He got his kids and everything. But that's the thing. These success stories of Dave Weigel and Mike Houlihan, we're 1 out of 1,000, 1 out of 10,000. All right, and you can't mimic that. You can't create a model out of that. So that's why I built what I did. Right? It's go through these steps, right? And take advantage of the exposure the way we have it built up, okay? And I can get people to have this, you know, this publication and getting your evidence on record. Maybe we combine your case with 15 others from your area. And I gotta just say right now, and I'm putting it out on permanent public record, I'm showing up on Thursday in Hartford, Connecticut to support this woman, Natasha Purcell, who is under attack for the same crap, okay? Same crap. And I'm going up to Ulster County, New York, to support this woman, Helen Garber, who is under attack from a monster. There is a woman by the name of Elizabeth Faulkner, who is America's Hitler, okay? This woman enjoys what she does. She enjoys destroying innocent people's lives. The level of collusion, she's got dirty cops, a couple of dirty cops on the payroll, and she's famous for the level. I mean, one of the cases is that one of her opponents, her son got into an accident and became a paraplegic. And when she was on the bedside the next day caring for her son, this Elizabeth Faulkner submitted an emergency order to blame her for the kid's accident, when she wasn't driving the car. It was her behavior that caused it. So she looked at this opportunity. That's the kind of person this one is when something like this happens, there's nothing there. It's pure darkness. Mike's got it right. This is good versus evil. This is good. No, this is a lawyer. This is a infamous lawyer in Ulster County, New York. And I'm publicized that I'm a community watchdog. Okay, that's what my organization is. It's a 501c3, and we welcome all of these fraud stories. And the stories that I have gotten about this one lawyer, it brought me to my knees. I mean, to tears. I just don't understand how this woman literally thinks the way Hitler thinks, like that level of evil. And we're showing up, and I think she wants to arrest me. She's got it so many things in there. I'm expecting to be arrested. I'm expecting her to say that she's seeing this right now. She's got it so that she can have this as being, I'm making terroristic threats, right? Because I use the word Hitler to describe her, so therefore, that's how they do it, okay? They just say, oh my God, you used well, was the word accurate for what I was describing? Because I'm a fiduciary, I have to be 100% accurate. It doesn't matter. They know there's no one showing up to stop them for whatever they do, right? There's no one. And I unfortunately think it's got to get worse before it gets better, because we're not getting this message out to everybody else, to people that aren't connected here. Go ahead, please.
Dave, before you do that, could you just repeat, there's people that are writing down the information. Could you repeat the exact address and time that you'll be there on Friday?
Yes, on Friday it is Kingston. I think it's 99 Washington Street. It's Kingston. It's a family court. It's the Ulster County Family Court in Kingston, New York. It is 11 o'clock is her case. People from my organization are all showing up. I've got a bunch of T-shirts made that says "Family Court," the only court where the criminals prosecute the innocent. And then it says the Family Court Fraud Warrior Project on the back. And we're going to be showing up. And one thing this movement needs.
Thursday, where?
And Thursday, I'm going to be in Hartford, Connecticut. Thursday, Hartford, Connecticut. I don't have the address. It's the Hartford Family Court. That's at 9 a.m. It's just a Hartford Family Court in Hartford, Connecticut, obviously. And these are two tormented. And I mean, if this was your sister, if this was your mother, you would want to off someone. the level of torture these people have been through. I can't even talk to them on the phone, and the feeling in the stories they tell me. I mean, I was saying in the beginning, I have my complex PTSD. I should be over it now. I got my kids back 19 months ago. I'm wearing all this torment from other people because I have a heart. I can't just heal it. And I'm living it. I'm reliving it all the time. You have another question here?
Yeah, I just wanted to speak of kind of what currently I've been going through, because after 3 attorneys, I became pro se.
Yes.
Here. And the most interesting thing that I realized is that, I guess, overall perspective of what I think you're talking about, phase 3 of class referencing everyone's like claims against the judges and stuff like that. But I want to say something that I've done is that when I became pro se, since my wife and I are both veterans, and we're both student veterans, I went to the Student Veterans of America Regional Conference last year.
Okay.
And I tried to think of what type of motive that they would have for no one representing me for after all the money I've given these 3 attorneys. And I told them to cross-reference the tax liens on all the veterans' properties that have been through family and divorce court, because they would have firsthand knowledge of a property going into foreclosure to be able to do so. And I'm pretty sure I was right, because people started asking me why I grew my mustache. And I grew my mustache for suicide awareness, because it took me, my divorce started by a false assault claim, and I was arrested, and I didn't see my son for almost 5 months. And it was at that time where I knew most civilians would really be able to withstand that. So it's like a miniature deployment away from your kids immediately for no reason, for a false claim. So I'm at the point now where I have also called the Office of Inspector General, and there was a guy in the clerk's office about 5 months ago, and I told him to come out to speak to me, and because they told me I'd have to schedule a meeting with the judge to see my file, but the thing is, the Office of Inspector General does not have oversight or the ability to go into a judge's chambers. So when I told that guy doing the investigation, which I'm pretty sure he was doing an investigation because he had a firearm and a badge on his waist, he asked me who my son's attorney was and when my next court date was. So the thing is that ever since then, I've actually had progress, and I was referred to a nonprofit visitation facility. So now I am paying to see my son, but only after I've had some type of federal involvement. And I did have Carl and James go to the Veterans Committee for Suffolk County, and I did relay this information to them as well. Is that, it's like after 2.5 years, why has my son's attorney finally done something, right? And why do I have to represent myself to be able to get something done? And so, well, see, the thing is, I'm doing something nobody's able to do, because my wife and I are both using Chapter 31 of our Veterans Education Benefits, which gives our education counselor complete oversight of our mental and physical history with the Department of Veterans Affairs. And so they know that I was not guilty in December 2023 of the assault claim in criminal court. So they're like, why can't you see your kid? So now I have the Department of Veterans Affairs definitely involved in what's going on, but they can't tell me that. Right. But it's like, they know what's going on. And as far as federal agency goes, they know what's going on.
See, the problem is that the criminal courts are totally different. They have rules over there. Okay, I went in there and it was dismissed immediately. Okay, there was no involvement. They don't share the money. Okay, that they get on the family court side over there. I don't even think they like them over there. So you'll win on the criminal court, but it doesn't matter. Because if you get completely dismissed, they just pretend and go on in the court as if you were found guilty, and they'll just implement things like, oh no, your kids are taken away. All right, I had my kids taken away for 126 days banned during early COVID, because I sent that email out that said, this is the most corrupt piece of shit I've ever seen in my life. Okay, one is more corrupt than the other. They used a private email that I sent to my family and friends in court, which I shouldn't have been able to do. And because I sent that email, they said I was on a drug-fueled rampage. Oh, he's a Wall Street guy, so he must be on drugs, right? Just got to sound feasible, right? So they ordered me to a hair test. Great, awesome. I know I'm not on drugs. Went, took the hair test. 7 days later, comes back fully clean. Great, give me my kids back. Nope. Just pretend that's it. 126 days. Complete ban for my children during a global pandemic. My son's 7 years old. Where's his dad? My daughter's 9. He's with them every single day. This is their playing field. This is what they use for making money. Bunch of talentless pieces of shit. Like I want to hold like investment club meetings to teach these people how to like make money another way, so they can like go and earn a living, you know, besides, you know, having to, you know, destroy people's lives for a dollar. I will say also, you know, to follow up, absolutely use everything with the veterans. We want to actually open up a specific division of just dealing with veteran issues and being able to provide. I'd love to talk to you more about it, because we have a lot of veterans here, and the way we treat veterans in this country is disgusting.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure like a couple more things that
yeah, and there are veteran programs that I know people have used successfully, but I also know that a lot of people have not been able to implement their ADA rights, okay? It's just, again, it gets back to the core concept of they can get away with anything. So if it's not about the law, right, then what is it really about? So you had to follow.
Right, that's the thing, is like when I exposed to the Office of Inspector General, and then when the lady came out from behind the judge and sat next to him, he turned beet red and everyone was kind of nervous. So I know that like I have some type of traction, and ever since then, if you see in the courthouse over here, it says that it was mandatory electronic filing for divorces in mid-June. So, because like I said, they were hiding our paper file in the judge's chambers. So now there's no more paper filing. So on top of that is that in this order, it was pieced together. It said explicit rights to property. It said wife, with the word wife was crossed out. And then it also said that I had agreed to pay the whole mortgage. But however, like I said, I've been following with the Department of Veterans Affairs. I've been telling them my wife should be paying half the mortgage. She's just pretending she's poor. Doesn't mean she is. And furthermore, it's like, so they use that court order. After the order of protection of 2 years was done, I should be able to go to my house. However, I called the police to go to the house, and they had advised me that there was an explicit rights court order that I had no idea about. So basically what it must have been is they gave her a copy of that paperwork without the word wife being crossed out. So if I had gone home, I would have been down like George Floyd and then in jail. But however, since I had exposed that, the original copy said wife was crossed out, I had every right to go home. But at the same time, they had uploaded, as soon as I became pro se at the right time, is that there was a order holding me in contempt, but not signed by the judge, and it was illegally uploaded into my file. So that's already been exposed from what I've done. And then furthermore, it's like there's been 4 CPS claims against me, and it's like the CPS investigator that I recently spoke to, they said this past Father's Day that I gave my son a bloody mouth, but my wife wouldn't let them see him. So they allegedly were gonna have to take her to court. But then they never.
But what I hear, not to interrupt you, what I hear embedded in your entire story here is your expectation that this is actually a court, that there's actually laws in that.
Well, I get it. That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? No, but it's a natural transition, right? It's where the brain goes, right? You have to manually will yourself to get this. You're not in a court, all right? This is the mafia, okay? The mafia responds to force. They don't respond to laws.
Excuse me, the mafia was honest.
The mafia didn't fuck with kids.
The
Mafia didn't mess with kids. Okay, they had code. Okay, the mafia would. Are you kidding me? This is the mafia wouldn't go in near that. I don't mean to insult the mafia. I don't mean to insult the mafia to call them. That'd be an insult to call them a family court judge.
The courts ran much better.
Question.
Yes, sir.
I had a similar issue too. It's almost like a taboo to even admit that you're a veteran, but that's the first thing that they try to lead with sometimes. They want to look at your any disability claims. They certainly want you to get a psych eval. If you happen to have gone to a combat zone, you're pretty much not going to get your kid under any circumstance, because now they can really start to spin like you were involved in all kinds of stuff. They really use that against you to the fullest, and then they make up some stuff.
Use it against you.
Right, and I consider myself to be a pretty creative. There's stuff that they were thinking of, just making it up off the top of their head with it. And I've seen this numerous times too. I've encountered a lot of other veterans who had the same issue. They make an easy target out of vets.
They make an easy target. You say you're a vet, you've just signed up for, oh, that's it, he's crazy.
Especially if you're in the
He's
40
crazy.
plus crowd, because
He's
you
crazy.
probably did go overseas. If you're in the 40 plus crowd, there's without a doubt you probably did.
Yeah.
So they're.
They knew I was on Wall Street, so I had to be a cokehead. You know, you're a vet, you know.
Well, yeah,
it's
they
just
probably
whatever's
saw
feasible.
They
Whatever
probably
looks good.
saw that you had money too. Like, oh look, a Dave Pity Bank. Look at that. That's probably what they saw it as. As soon as you stop presenting money to them, then they're not going to talk to you. But getting back to the veterans thing, like you said, you're going to start something with that too. Are you looking for a separate thing that you're doing the same way?
I am. We have 2 separate. First of all, we're splitting off CPS from family court fraud. I mean, they are 2, even though it's the same criminals in charge. But one is they're using your kids to steal your money, right? That's family court fraud. And then the CPS scam is they're stealing your kids to get reimbursement money from the government. This is all Title 4D shit, okay? So if you don't have money, your kids are the money, okay? And they'll put them on drugs and call them special needs because a special needs kid is cha-cha-ching. It's about $1 million a year by the time they hit every single, preferred provider, and everybody takes a piece of this kid. So they're pushing them in the direction.
Yeah, Dave, my name's Stan Stewart. So you're telling us that all your experience, you're better off in the end going pro se to fight these people.
As crazy as that sounds, yes, and it took me a very long time to get it. Because
You have the expertise and knowledge to do that?
No, I have expertise and knowledge in studying and learning things, okay? I mean, my expertise is on the finance side. I'm
Right.
saying the thing is so broken that
Right.
something as ludicrous as you should represent yourself
Yeah.
is actually the truth.
Good. And you leave us your card and your, when's the protesters up in Hartford and Ulster County?
Yes.
Okay.
They're not, this is court watching, all right? This is not an official protest. This is to get there, get in the seat and go and exercise your American right to actually observe. Because when there's people in the courtroom, they shut it down, okay? Jim, what's the one guy shut down 500 times?
Yeah.
Judge Matthew G. Hughes,
Yes.
Part 10, second floor.
They're doing that all the time now.
What is your website?
Website is there's the website, which is familycourtfraudwarrior.com. familycourtfraudwarrior.com.
1395.
But the group where we're all convening is on Facebook, and you just add project to the end. It's Family Court Fraud Warrior Project. And that was just, I was introducing myself as a Family Court Fraud Warrior as I was doing the first 2 years of advocating. Then when it became a group, I said, no, this is a project, this is about all of us. So I know it's a long, annoying name, but I wanted to be very, very specific, right? It is the family court. It's not criminal court. It's not others. It's the family court. And this is a fraud system. This is organized fraud. Yes.
David, thank you very much for coming. My name is James Kelly, and thank you very much for your compliment earlier. I can tell you that in support of your point, that I could write the most perfect paper.
Yes, you could.
That the heavens could open, the angels could sing, and it doesn't matter anything. Because there's no legitimacy to the court. There's no truth, fact, evidence, law, due process, the Constitution, or your rights have no meaningful place in the court. The only thing that does is power and control.
That's it.
And that's the end of the story. Now, with respect to questions, we've got a very active screen going on here. One of the questions is, why are they going after veterans? I'd like to have you comment on that. I'm going to see if I can bring up any other questions so that we can get them all out of the way. But if you would answer that one first.
Why are they going after veterans? Because no one is safe. I was on the phone 3 times coming back from the airport, and the Uber driver had to pull over in tears and turn around and tell me their story. They heard me over the phone, and they said, one Uber driver said, I'm an engineer in my own country, and I can barely do this. I can't work. My kids are stolen. They're taken to California. They are going after everyone. If you're a business owner, if you're a vet, that means what? You got vet benefits. You got a pension. Anybody who's got a pension, they want your money. They want your money. Okay, why would they go after me? I'm not an easy target. All right? I'm a pretty smart fucking guy. All right? I mean, they should have picked somebody easier to go after, right? Because when life becomes that easy, right? And it's just, this is like anything in history where you've got a power system that's so drunk and belligerent with their power. They're not using their brains. Think of it like they're like the ultimate landlord. You don't work. You don't figure out solutions. You're not working your brain. You're just sitting there collecting money, right? So they're just getting lazier and lazier and lazier. And with vets, it's very, very simple because it's very feasible. Does it sound feasible? He's a vet. He's got PTSD. The vet's got PTSD. So that's a grounds to take your kid. The grounds to take your kid. And here's the business model, everybody. The business model is always give the child to the wrong parent. If you give the child to the wrong parent, there's a lot of motivation to fix that problem. If you give the child to the right parent, who's got the motivation to spend any money? It's just that simple. I actually advise people that have gotten into the family court in the very, very beginning, and I've told people, pretend you're a narcissist. You're gonna get your kid, right? Pretend you're a narcissist, go in there and tell the judge this. Say, I'll come back here as many times as I have to make sure my child's protected. Speak in their language. The judge hears cha-ching, cha-ching, you'll get your kid. And then, if you want your kid to have a mother, okay, in this one particular case, I said, then when you have the kid 100%, you make a decision how much you want the kid to see. But he wanted to go in there and be like, no, it's not fair, I want my kid to have, no, you can't think like that. You can't think like that. This is a completely different thing. Please.
Thanks again for coming and giving your time. So you say that, of course, the family court is all an act on the color of law, actors. And if you gather enough evidence, can you go to a criminal court and kind of use their game against them?
That is the ultimate plan here. I'm doing all of this. The purpose for the 2,000 cases is collecting a class. I'm launching a $10 billion class action lawsuit on behalf of the 2,000 victims. That's $5 million for each family, okay? Equally split. That has a better shot of winning than does. Somebody has to step forward. No matter what evidence you have, we're always left with 3 questions. Who's listening to this evidence? Who are you presenting it to? Who's listening that can do something about it, is in a position to do something about it? And then the third question is, why? Why are they going to do it? What's their motivation? Who's going to step forward and I'm going to be the poster child to take away this $100 billion a year industry. It's about $100 billion a year when you add up all of the negative feedback loops to all of this. It's pretty immeasurable, but that's as close as we can get to it. It's about $100 billion a year at the trough. Who is stepping in front of this to take this away? Where's the FBI? Just the evidence we have on this site right here. How's the FBI not spoken to me? How's the U.S. Marshals not spoken to me? No one knows where to step. No, it's complete gridlock. There is no regulator. This is a town without a police force. It's scary. And if we don't fix this, this is why I can't give this up.
And as a pro se, as an individual, is there a way you could present this to an Article 3 judge?
The best thing you could do now is ChatGPT and these other AI programs have saved people's lives, okay? Because you feed it in, you speak like a normal human being into it, it will spit it out in the proper form. You avoid the being just paralyzed, right? You get paralyzed with this thing, you don't know where to pick up, you've got so much, you got to be in court in 3 days, right? ChatGPT has helped people's mental health because it's kept them going. It's kept them going. It's kept them going. Probably putting one foot in front of the other to actually get this stuff. And the best thing you could possibly do is get a lawyer friend to help you in the background, okay? Fuck them that they say that that's ghostwriting and it's illegal, okay? Okay, this is moral. This is ethical, all right? You can find lawyers that will help you in the background, all right? They'll look over your stuff. They'll make sure that you're prepped, right? That's the best position you could possibly be in. You have to be pro se because you need to put shit on the record that your lawyer, if he works for the system, will never put on, okay? Do not go with a lawyer, okay? Do not, all right? Be pro se, but the best position you could be in is have a lawyer in the background.
They appointed my third legal aid. I've been pro se here too, and they appointed me the third legal aid, which...
Oh, they don't want you to be pro se now. Now they're changing it. Now they're forcing it on you.
The reason I don't want you to be pro se is because it's appealable immediately.
That too. But the big reason they don't want you on pro se is they don't want you speaking out of line for the transcript. But I've seen this evolve just in the last 6 months. Where the family court is today versus 6 months ago, I use this analogy. Picture how long it took them to get the Bar Association 100% corrupt, right? It had to be of 100 people in the Bar Association. Just luck of the draw, just numbers. It had to be 85% were shit, complete shit human beings, and 15 normal people, right? How many efforts did it take over how many years to 15 to be 14, to be 13, to be 12, to be 9? What I've noticed over the last 6 months is they've gone from 98 to 100, okay? Now, not even the transcripts matter. A year ago, they cared about what the transcripts said. Now they don't care. I was in Bandy Lee's. I was sitting in court watching for Bandy Lee. She's the Yale and Harvard psychiatrist that has been speaking out very aggressively. She is facing criminal charges for stalking in New Jersey. And in New Jersey, the judge, I heard him in his own voice, sit there and tell everybody in court that the definition of stalking in New Jersey is showing up in someone's person twice, 2 times. So if you get your car, if you get your oil changed twice in a year, and you see your mechanic twice, you're stalking him. You could be charged with stalking. That's how ridiculous it is. The definition of stalking is you are showing up over and over and over and over in somebody's place to harass them. Bandy Lee read the First Amendment to this judge saying, no law will sit above this. No law. And the judge said, no, we're going to default to the New Jersey 2010 Supreme Court ruling that says that stalking is twice or more, 2 times or more. Now they don't even care. They don't even care what the transcripts say.
Dave, I've been doing this for 40 years, unfortunately, but there's some simple things you can do. The first thing is that flag that's there is not an American flag. So you have to bring an American flag into the courtroom and ask the court to take that flag out of there. When a flag has gold trim on it, it's a maritime flag. There's 3 types of law: in law, in equity, and in maritime. In maritime, which you walk on the ship and the captain of the ship says, walk the plank, you walk the plank. So ask the judge politely, if you're pro se, please, or bring your own American flag and bring the Constitution and put it on the table. And ask the judge, are we working under the Constitution or are we working under the maritime? Your silence means the judge picks what he wants. Simple things. If you can't in family court, but if you ever get into criminal court, you ask for a trial by jury immediately. Right. Not a jury trial, a trial by jury. Different things. So there's you have to learn how to play Monopoly if you want to play Monopoly. You have to play,
Carl, you're assuming that they're playing Monopoly by rules.
They're playing their rules, and you don't know that. You want to know what rules we're using, Your Honor, and be polite. Yeah. I would like to run this court under the Constitution.
Right. I appreciate that. I will say my style is I refuse to play on their playing field with their game pieces. I take it out of their world that they control and put it in the world they don't control. They don't control the court of public opinion. They don't control the internet. They don't control evidence that will stay on permanent public record forever. And if they're going to call me a criminal, if they're going to write up a 48-page document saying that I'm a criminal, I'm going to post up for court of public opinion.
The same as your mother hung the clothes out in the sunshine. The fresh air kills the germs.
That's right.
And you want to hang the clothes in the sunshine. You want everybody to see. Unfortunately, we're talking tonight on the computer and here with victims.
That's right.
We're preaching to the choir. We have to get to the people.
We do.
People do not believe.
They do not believe things are this bad.
You didn't believe it. I didn't believe it. I didn't know what
Took years. Took years for me to believe it, to understand it. And I was in it. I do want to take a second because what we're trying to do here is a behavioral change mechanism, okay? All humans, we're getting down to basic stuff here, all right? All humans, all brains, seek pleasure, avoid pain. What they have in the family courts is a system that has no pain. no matter what they do, no one is showing up to give them pain. So what we've done is we've created our wall of shame and our wall of fame. Okay, and I'm proud to announce that our own Jim Weigel is an inaugural member of our Wall of Fame. Okay, him and Marianne Petrie we put up today. I want to just take a second to show you guys on the site where we had a fantastic article about Jim go up today that I want to point to.
Middle tab.
And you can see this is our site here. This will take a second. Jim was a proud member of this initiative. I found the first time to be able to advertise, mass advertise, that the term criminals, and is this not connected to the internet anymore? We had on the Sunrise Highway, I paid for a billboard that had our statement that said, family court, the only court where the criminals prosecute the innocent. And it's myself, Jim's in the background, Marianne, and that was on for 8 days. It was on Sunrise Highway, how we got it? West Hampton? Is there West Hampton right there? Yeah. Yeah. So it's on the Shinnecock.
The electric side.
Yeah, the Shinnecock. There it is, right there. You see it right there. Oh, you got it. Got it right there. Right there. Stay there. Stay there. Just stay there. So we had that there for 8 days, and the only reason that we got that through was because it was the Native American tribe's decision. It avoided all other compliance, and now we're looking for every billboard that is on a Native American land in this country, because you know what, the Native Americans know a little bit about being fucked over by a tyrannical government, right? They know a little bit about that. I'll tell you who else is supporting us. I'm getting word through a number of people, the biker gangs are all for us. The biker gangs, think these guys are all victims. These are all kids of the family courts, right? Right? They do not have love in their heart. I want to do a thing where we have every single biker gang come to Manhattan and circle the family court with 5,000, 10,000 bikes and just just shut down the whole city with noise that is just deafening noise, because we've got to get this out. We got to get this over the hump. We can't just be talking to ourselves here. And there's a lot of reasons. Divorce, don't want to go. They don't want to believe it. We're going to keep banging these doors down. We're going to keep knocking until they listen. Go ahead, Jim.
Hey, Dave. As you know, my name is James Weigel. I also went and court watched. One of the things I noticed in New Jersey was the court officers had body cams, which is something that they don't have in Suffolk County. Would you like to say anything about that?
Yeah, I want to also say that I was really, really impressed. I've been to places where they don't let you in, okay? 500 closed courts. And I was walking in, and I'm from Bergen County, New Jersey, and I've never been so proud of my county, because I was walking in with another gentleman who had his kids hijacked and taken to California, and we're walking through the machines, right? And with all the cops sitting there, he's like, yeah, that's the courthouse where they ripped off my kids. Bunch of criminals in there. I'm like, shut up, shut up. We're trying to get in here. And all of the cops there were on our side. So they might have had body cams on, but we seen them. They were giving a look. They got it. They were not on. They let us video outside the courtroom. Inside the courthouse, we were videoing and reporting. And that's like absurd to even think. Like, they don't even let us hang out outside the courtroom. And that was all because all of those officers of that court, I'm quite sure they got word from the judge that they didn't want us here and, get these guys out of here. They were on our side. They were serving the people.
Lastly, Dave, I just want to thank you. It truly is an honor and a privilege to have you come here. I wish the folks would see the things that happen and what you go and do on the back end of everything. I mean, 2.5 hours just to get here. You've been out in Long Island numerous times. I mean, there's just not enough things that are mentioned about you that's kept in the background. But I just got to tell you, man, I'm so proud to know somebody. I feel even stronger when I go into the courts or anything like that. And I'm asking anybody to please check out Family Court Fraud Warrior Project and see what they're about. I'm a member of American for Legal Reform. I'll always be a member of American for Legal Reform. But I see what they're doing over there. And it doesn't mean that I can't participate, because the idea is to get as many people together and create change. And I'm letting you know that that's exactly what they're doing. And God bless you, Dave. And, you know, this Hall of Fame, whatever the case may be, there's people that came before. Carl Langiera, 40 years, this and that. It's great. But when you look at that and you see me, for all those that are working behind the scenes that came before me,
right.
You're looking at yourselves. So thank you, Dave. God bless you. God bless the project.
Thank you.
And
Thank
we
you,
look forward
thank you
to
very
seeing
much.
you again.
I will always be here for Americans for Legal Reform. I consider this my group too, okay? We all got the same in mind here, right? We're just coming at it from the different sides of the equation, but it's all of us feeling like we need to take care of ourselves, right? Nobody's flying in to take care of us, and it's time. And I appreciate all the time and attention that you guys have given me, and our doors are open for all of you. By all means, you do not have to be a victim to be a member. There are plenty of advocates that are here just to get the news and stay up on the news flow of all of our campaigns. So please apply for membership and be part of us. Thank you very much for having me.